Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my Muñaños Gamer. This is Jesus from Jesus Gaming a podcast. A lot has happened since the last time since last I showed my face here on YouTube. For those who are seeing the video version of the Jesus Gaming and podcast, today's episode, yes, we are returning back on filming in real life and avoiding the semi VTuber that I was doing in the past couple of months. I received just another feedback that I should just stop it then because it was making people dizzy. But nevertheless, I think that the most important thing is what we are today, and rejected to do some episode based on rumors. And we're talking about the Xbox rumors that were really in the sound, in the rumor mills, in the speculation land, whatever you want to call it. And basically, I just denied to be part of the speculation, amplifying misinformation or exaggerated information, if you will. And I just waited for the official information. So this past Thursday, February 15, 2024, if this goes on history or if this is being heard or see a big a while later, Microsoft Gaming officially answered and busted some bad faith rumors, confirmed some rumors, and we are finally going to talk about what went as a true rumor, as a false rumor, and as an exaggerated rumor. But I think that a better way to do it is to actually make a takeaway of, for me, what was the important things of the special update of the Xbox business on the official Xbox podcast that pretty much bring us to a vision of the future for Xbox. Let's get to it. All right, long, short version of the story behind this special podcast episode of Xbox. It was basically back on Monday, February 5, that Phil Spencer decided to make a special communication. And this communication was actually responding on the rumors that were flying around the internet and social media for the whole weekend before that past Monday that said that the Xbox business was practically in danger. Not even the Activision Blizzard King acquisition was making things better, and Xbox just decided to forget the exclusivities and pretty much launching games elsewhere, like PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, more gaming stores for PC besides the Xbox store and Steam, which is usually where Microsoft and the Xbox Game Studios members launch and publish their games. So I think that the noise was so high and so loud that basically Microsoft Gaming and Phil Spencer decided that it was time to either silence the rumors, what goes on facts, what goes on false information, and they decided to announce that in February 15, it will be a special episode of the official Xbox podcast, having the complete Microsoft directive, including Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer, Xbox President Sarah Blunt, and the head of Xbox content, Matt Booty. I want to start out about the topic on exclusivity. This is what Xbox and Microsoft Gaming has to say about the exclusivity.
Long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically. They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
So the rumors that Microsoft was kind of allowing some games to be released elsewhere outside the Xbox ecosystem, it was partially true, but what remains as a non-fact or something that just went with the exaggerated rumors mill was that it was going to be a big fat ass catalog of games, and basically it's just 4 unannounced game. 2 of them is community-driven type of games, and the other hint that was given is that all those 4 games were a year old or older, so it's not any recent game. And yes, Starfield and Indiana Jones ain't gonna be released elsewhere outside Xbox. Now, keep in mind that this was during the Xbox business update on the Xbox business in the official Xbox podcast, but later in an interview with Tom Warren of The Verge, Phil Spencer acknowledged that while it's true that Starfield and Indiana Jones will not go in outside Xbox, things can change in the future. And I think that this is a debate between many gamers and Xbox fans, is that how long can Microsoft really hold exclusivities for games? Because that will be another point but I'm going to talk about it later. But Xbox will retain some exclusivity. The question is, how long will Xbox or the business will justify to keep the exclusivity? As if this trial or anything that, implicitly a trial that Xbox is running, and to see how things goes with games going outside the Xbox. I believe that this is just a matter of time before, and I do believe too that there's a probability that with time Xbox add more games, and with this we go with the part of the exclusivity. So this is debatable if the rumor that or maybe is making it complete that Xbox is going full publishing side instead of hanging or retaining the hardware business. I like Phil Spencer's honesty about it. I really do like his insight that while it's important that each platform retains their exclusives, including Xbox as a main gaming house of content and gaming, there's a possibility that between the 5 to 10 years, the industry will move away from exclusives. Exclusive will be the small part of the business. And while I do believe that exclusivity does give some value on owning an Xbox, Nintendo Switch, a PlayStation, let me go hypothetically, Sega still exists, of course. Well, that was a sad 2001 when Sega announced originally going outside the hardware and just becoming the publisher. And to be honest, I was ready. I was ready to visit 2001 again, but this time with Microsoft. For those who doesn't know, or it's not a common knowledge, Sega used to make consoles. If you ever heard about the Sega Genesis Mini a few years ago, that is the reason. Sega did have not only an arcade business, it also had the consoles business, and it was a big competitor to Nintendo. But it was by 2001 that Sega decided to hang out the boots on the hardware business, and the Sega Dreamcast became the last hardware that the company ever made. So taking that in mind, I was practically ready to hear, because the rumors were so constant and insistent that you could give some value or some credibility, or maybe a benefit of the doubt, if you will. We are accustomed, or it is a norm, that you see when rumors begins to get louder. You got outlets, blogs talking about it, YouTubers giving some thoughts about these kind of rumors. It's because it might happen. I'm really surprised that this kind of thing between the games that will go outside the Xbox environment and the exclusivity, I think that the exclusivity part was a real balance in admitting that Xbox exclusivity is important, but probably between the next decade it's not going to be viable, or at least it's going to be challenging to still convincing people to just focus on one platform or games. Another one important topic is about Game Pass. This is what Xbox and Microsoft Gaming has to say about Game Pass.
We at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. Not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
For those who are following me on social networks like X, Blue Skies, Nostr, Facebook Gaming, I did say this in the communication. I was practically laying down a plan A if things go wrong with Game Pass. And the reason that I said and published that is because there were some rumors that Game Pass might be transformed to be a super thing about or taking a big role in the going multi-platform or Xbox as a publisher. So I believe that devaluated what Game Pass or what I was sold about Game Pass a few years ago. I think that if that was the case, then there's no reason that in 2025 I should continue being a Game Pass customer. And to my surprise, the Xbox and Microsoft Gaming executive that said that Game Pass will continue. Game Pass is still growing, for the surprise of a few doubters, haters, whatever you want to call them. And also, all releases from Xbox Game Studio, first-party releases, are going to be day one launches. They're going to be forever on Game Pass until, obviously, the service go away. And more importantly, that it will be available for Xbox only. So there's a revisit on the exclusive things. So Game Pass is not going for PlayStation. It's not going outside the PC within the Microsoft Store or the Xbox application for PC. Why is important this? To me, is to give Xbox an exclusive way of really having gamers that want to enjoy gaming. I like how they focus on the games that need to have certain standards and the importance of game nowadays, including crossplay and cross progression or cross save as part of the norm of gaming development. I think that the industry is way too late about this topic, and I'm really happy that Xbox got this mentality. And while obviously debunking the Game Pass going everywhere rumor that, while it might sound like a saving aspect or having like a strategy if Game Pass was in a dire situation, but this means that Game Pass remain a strong thing about Xbox itself as a gaming platform. With my original plan about having the opportunity to land physical games, I'm kind of worried about the physical gaming on Xbox. Back in a few weeks ago, it was speculated that, or not speculated, let me rephrase that. It was revealed that most of the Microsoft Gaming layoff a few weeks ago, the biggest impact in the side of Xbox was the team dedicated to bringing physical games to titles. So with that in mind, you will expect that Microsoft will address about the physical games. Unfortunately, after the announcement on Game Pass, and I think I'm going a little forward here, the presentation or the Xbox official podcast episode regarding of the vision of the future of Xbox didn't include anything about what's the future of physical games. So that really motivated me to actually go with the plan B that I posted on social media. I think I'm going for the physical games. I believe that if I'm on time and avoid the games become something like a rareness, which will affect price and will raise them just because of the rareness of or this kind of thing that it is in game collection, that the more old and the more rare that a game becomes, it impacts its prices. So, my takeaway on that is that, yes, I'm a little worried that things are going that way, but Microsoft Gaming is not acknowledging that, or maybe people that still believe in physical medium should have at least a notion or some expectations to be prepared when going all digital becomes a reality, which for me is a horrible a horrible sunset in the history of gaming at all. Finally, what many people has been expecting so bad is when Activision Blizzard King games will commence or will start appearing.
And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make the Xbox experience and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
On Game Pass, and we got a date and we got a single game. It is Diablo 4 will come on March 28, 2024. But no other information was given if any of the old school Call of Duty will be joining. And I named it Call of Duty particularly because last year Microsoft was working hard on fixing the service issues that were affecting classic games, going as back as Call of Duty Black Ops, and pretty much revive the multiplayer scenery within Call of Duty games on Xbox. So I don't blame there was expectations about Activision Blizzard King announcement. So I think that we kind of left this as a semi-sour taste. But at least we got a date. And let's be honest here. I do want to say, and I do want to believe that Microsoft is preparing the Game Pass to receive all the old school games from Activision, the old school games from Blizzard. Xbox management and Microsoft Gaming has already said that they are really interested on reviving some intellectual properties that are currently running, and they are also abandoned both recently and for years that hasn't been touched. And I'm just ready for it. And if the cost is going to be just more patient, then let's go with it. I think one of the most debunked rumors was the hardware aspect or the hardware business of Xbox. And this is what Xbox said about the hardware business.
And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. More to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday, and we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
I think this is the part that I won't give a takeaway at all. I'm just going to be extremely careful. I'm not amplifying speculation, but yes, we got the things. First, we got an old digital Xbox Series X that has been mentioned since last year, or I think as of late of 2022, that has been mentioned that Xbox is preparing a version disc-less or Blu-ray-less, only digital Xbox Series X. And then recently we got the rumors that Microsoft might be joining this influx of portable gaming devices that will have Xbox branded portable devices. And we got also the Game Pass as the main course for this device. And technically speaking, it's not disingenuous to think that Microsoft is probably working more on these portable devices. Let's remember that Microsoft is co-developing their own processor with Qualcomm called the Microsoft SQ. I think there is currently on the second generation as the SQ2. And the device that currently is running is the Microsoft Surface Pro X. So I think that there's a space on maybe speculating or the possibility that the next main thing about this product is that they're gonna have Microsoft own processor co-developed again by Qualcomm, the SQ maybe 3, SQX. Yeah, the naming is weird. The naming is weird about these about the processors. But keep in mind that I cannot assure that I don't have the data or anything. But this kind of processor are based on ARM, so I think that either Intel might have something behind their sleeve to maybe convince Microsoft to be the actual provider for the processor. If Microsoft isn't going to the direction of having co-developed and distributed by Qualcomm. So I think that we have to wait on December. But between the two, the old digital Xbox Series X and the portable device, I do believe that both have a 50% chance, respectively, to be the one to be announced. What I'm going to say that is going to be a fact is that calling holidays the time to make an announcement or anything, like it was the Xbox Series S and X original announcement, I think that Geoff Keighley just won a big hang or a big hook for people to watch the Game Awards again this year, the 2024 edition or the 11th edition of the Game Awards. I do believe that, and I'm gonna call it right now, I do believe that Microsoft and Geoff Keighley will separate the official announcement of the next hardware of Xbox at the Game Awards 2024 edition. But no, I deny that this is the next gen Xbox device. I do believe that the next gen Xbox might probably be announced within 2027 or early 2028 with a formal announcement in summer and a launch. Let's remember the preliminary injunction that the FTC wanted to impose against Microsoft when buying Activision Blizzard. It was the same Phil Spencer that acknowledged that Xbox was already planning to go next gen, or the successor of the Xbox Series S and S, between 2028 and forward. So I pretty much doubt that this year anything next gen will be announced. So I think that it's going to be either the Xbox All Digital Series X or the portable device. And again, for me, both have the 50-50% probability of being announced. Again, I want to raise again that I wasn't expecting Microsoft Gaming talking about gaming preservation on this episode of the official Xbox podcast. But again, I think that this was a missed opportunity to have the opportunity to address about the rumors of the physical games of Xbox being no longer as part of the future of Xbox. We know that Best Buy is spacing out the physical mediums. They already did it with television series and movies, and they acknowledge that the video games are next, while Walmart acknowledged that they will phasing out Xbox games. So why not PlayStation and Nintendo? But mark my words, they started with Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo could be next. Maybe PlayStation will be the next in line, actually. Nintendo is kind of in a convenient status that they shouldn't retire physical medium, especially if they co-own the patents or the designs of those physical games, like these strange cartridges that looks like micro SD, but they are micro SD as per Nintendo, if you will. So returning back to Xbox, I think that this is a strange time to avoid talking about the future of physical games now that you wanted to address some misinformation about the Xbox business future in general. I think that it wouldn't hurt to talk about physical games or even acknowledging if this is the fact that physical games on Xbox, probably 2024 and 2025 are going to be the final years for physical games. So I think that's one of the biggest myths of this vision of the future of Xbox. With that being said, let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about all this announcement of the Xbox. Do you agree that, and in my opinion, that Xbox trolled both haters and bad faith leakers, in my opinion? Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comment. If you're seeing this on YouTube podcast, remember to hit the like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for anything gaming that goes from Jesus Gaming and Podcast. This was kind of a strange situation, or not a strange situation. It's a strange schedule. I usually post new episodes Wednesday on YouTube, and audio-only version of the podcast go on the Principal's podcast platform on Fridays. But as again, I didn't want to amplify rumors. I wanted to amplify what is already fact. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. This was Jesus from Jesus Gaming and Podcast. Have a good one. Health and success. GG's.